continuing the stream for top Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. Alright, and we are going back here to multicolored, and we're moving on, getting through multicolored unless something else interesting comes up. Okay, we're on John Irenicus Shattered One. Being your end step, target opponent gains control of up to one target creature you control. Put 2+1/+1 counters on it and tap it. It is goaded for the rest of the game and gains this creature can't be sacrificed. Whenever a creature you own but don't control attacks, draw a card. Well, I suppose if you play a lot of multiplayer, that's probably good. For me, that's epically terrible. I can imagine there are a lot of bad creatures you can give your opponent. I know I've done this search before, and there actually aren't that many. There's like 5. Unless they printed more terrible creatures, which I'm sure they have, but I don't know. I'm not doing that search. I'm not interested in playing that deck. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Whenever Kagha Shadow Archdruid attacks, it gains Death Touch until end of turn, mill 2 cards. Once during each of your turns, you may play a land card or cast a permanent spell from among cards in your graveyard that were put there from your library this turn. So you could gain a slight advantage on that and mill yourself before attacking and maybe get something better, or you just gamble off the top 2. I don't know if that would really be a good commander. That feels a little weak. You're just essentially drawing a card or playing a card and getting some mill. Feels like it's playable, but preferably not as a commander, unless there's something else that synergizes with it really well, but it doesn't have that background ability, so probably not. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast dragon spells from top of your library, of course. 2-color dragon commander. I feel like I could get behind that. It kind of sucks that it's blue, because you really don't need that effect in blue. If that was like green, I mean, the effect is literally a green effect. It doesn't need to be blue. Green, red, green, any color but blue would make more sense. You can still do it, of course, but you don't really need the top of your library dragon draw if it's blue. You really don't need that. Whenever you cast an adventure spell or dragon spell, Lozhan Dragon's Legacy deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to any target that isn't a commander. I mean, I suppose that could be your commander again, and you could play a 6-drop dragon and smash face for 6 if you wanted to. It feels like this deck is just 5-color dragons, whatever they printed this for. So I don't think you would actually play 2-color dragons like this. This is actually a really strong effect. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each creature that died this turn. That is a very strong effect. Yeah, very playable. that could be your commander, and you could play black-red sacrifice. And I mean, he doesn't have to be the commander because it's black, and you could probably tutor for it. But having a sacrifice deck that's black-red that gives you a free treasure token for every creature dying, yeah, that's pretty good overall. I mean, we'd have to look at the rules. Like, if he dies, do you get all of the treasure tokens, or does it have to be in play still? Those rules are not up yet, but we will find out. This is absolutely like the sacrifice effect that you were looking for, though. Like, free treasure token per creature is crazy, to say the least. So, whenever an enchanted creature attacks, one of your opponents, it gets +2 against trample on the turn. Whenever aura you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, exile it until the end of turn. You may cast that spell. I don't think this breaks timing rules, so I don't think it's as good as I think it is. I think it's probably really bad. Probably really bad. Okay, well, that's an interesting 3-color dragon commander. Has some slight protection. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary if the dragon is legendary. So blatantly just making copies for free is a stupidly strong effect, even at 6 mana. So yeah, if that hangs around, which it might, crazy. Oh god. They're doing more of this crap where planeswalkers can be your commanders. It's probably stupidly strong as well, so let's just take a look. When Minx and Boo, timeless heroes, enter the battlefield, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you may create Boo, a legendary 1/1 red hamster creature token with trample and haste. So you get a token every turn. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature with trample. Oh, that's really lame. So it specifically has to has with trample or haste. Okay, whatever. Sacrifice a creature. When you do, Mince and Boo, timeless heroes, deals X damage to any target where X is that creature's power. If the sacrifice creature was a hamster, draw X cards. Oh my god. That is so stupidly overpowered. Good god. Like, okay. So let's just think on that for a minute. So again, this is stupidly overpowered. So first time around, enters the battlefield. You make a 4/4 hamster instantly. Alright. Next turn rolls around. Oh, it says may create. Okay, so you don't even have to create it. Whatever. If you did, you would have to sack it. So I guess you would sacrifice the 1/1 that you just created if you had some kind of dies effect or enters the battlefield effect, which you very well could have. But -2. So next turn around, if you just wait, sacrifice creature. When you do, Mince and Boo, timeless hero deals X damage to any target where X is that creature's power. So you're dealing 4 damage. If sacrifice creature was hamster, draw X cards. And you're drawing 4 cards. That is pretty nuts. And if you don't need the 4 cards and you have something big on the board, you have fling all the time. Constantly. Which is bananas. And you could probably make everything a hamster. Let's be real here. There are plenty of colorless cards that say changeling that make everything X creature type. Alright? I'll find one right now and encourage you to play it because it is that bonkers. So let's find a changeling artifact. So we got red, green, exclude, and changeling. That's not how you spell changeling. Changeling. Okay, so we got changeling. And it is just straight up artifact. But you know what? Let's just I just want the artifact right now. I know there's a bajillion cards. Just want the artifact. Oh god, I didn't do the search. Okay. Changeling. Come on. I really hate gather. Okay. Sometimes it's just change. That's right. Changeling. Changeling. I'm definitely not spelling that wrong. So text, changeling, exclude unselected colors, search, just run the search. 15, that's not that many. Okay, so red, you can make everything all creature types for a spell. Probably not that great to do that on a spell. Chameleon Colossus, you're probably playing Chameleon Colossus anyway because the ability's good. Like, it's pumping itself for 4, and then if you make it bigger, it doubles its power. So Chameleon Colossus, very playable. Probably not playable, but if you want to throw this stuff in, you can. It's just a junky creature with haste. Taurine Mauler is not that bad, but you pretty much have to play it in multiplayer. I swear there was an artifact spell, and I think that exclude works way too well now, apparently. So, card type, artifact, exclude nothing, changeling. So, well, I didn't anticipate this, but you can just make generic 2/2s that are hamsters on a stick. Cost 7, very expensive. As Bloodline Pretender enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever another creature of chosen type enters the battlefield under control, put a +1/+1 counter on it. I mean, he is a hamster, but you don't want to choose hamster. That'd be awful. Really? The changeling in Kaldheim? Alright. 1-drop changeling. Creatures you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. Okay, I guess you're just playing Maskwood Nexus. I swear there's an equipment that does this though. I swear there is. Let's try again. Every creature type. Alright, there it is right there. Because wizards like to mess around and use keywords for some things but not others. So, Amorphous Axe. So right there, Amorphous Axe is your home run for your hamster deck. And so is other things that are colorless. You could play Birthing Bras if you want to. I don't know if you really want to. I think that costs 7. That's expensive. Bloodline Pretender, colorless. Masswood Nexus is probably the best one for your hamster deck. So besides Masswood Nexus and Amorphous Axe. And, oh, there's another one. Rune Stalactite. So, yeah. So that's 3 cards that you could play quite easily. And you could make your hamster deck a real thing. And just smash face really, really easily. Like, you don't even need to draw the equipment. That's the crazy thing. You literally just activate it with its own abilities. And draw 4 cards. And deal 4 damage. Like, that power level is disgustingly high. Kinda nuts, honestly. I mean, it's a mythic rare for a reason. It's just, oh man. What else we got? Minthara. Ward X, where X is the number of experience counters you have. Okay. When your upkeep, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, you get an experience counter. So you get 1. I'm sorry, at the beginning of your end step. 1, and then creatures you control get +1/+0 for each experience counter you have. Seems bad. Playable-ish, I guess. Not something I would play. Mikuriel, Lord of Bones, cost 7. As long as your life total is less than or equal to half your starting life total. Okay, so it's another one of those god cards. Let's see if it's terrible. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may exile it. Okay. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's an enchantment and loses all other card types. What? Well, I guess I'll have to see that in an example. Because if it loses creature, then it can't attack, as far as I am understanding this. So, what am I gaining here? Like, abilities? Static abilities? I don't know. I have to find out how that actually works. Nero Wild Mage. Whenever you cast a spell, you may put it on the top or when you may put it on the bottom of its owner's library. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal the non-land card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Whoa. Then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This ability only triggers once each turn. Okay. I was concerned for a minute about how disgustingly powerful that is. But it only triggers once each turn, so it's livable and fair. Obviously you're gonna try and do that on your opponent's turn as much as humanly possible, and it does cost 6, so it takes you a minute to get there, even if you ramp really hard. Like if you have 2 generic mana rocks, so turn 1 land, turn 2 land, play mana rocks, there's your extra land. Turn 4, so mana rock. Alright, so turn 3, play another mana rock. So you got 2 mana rocks, 3 lands. Turn 3, so you got 4-ish mana right now because you have to tap mana to do it. Then turn 4, you have enough mana. So I suppose that's pretty good on turn 4 as long as you're ramping really hard. So I don't see a downside. I really gotta say, like, the power level for these spells is absurd. In this set, like, everything is crushingly strong. Everything. Like, I would probably play this in my other deck. If I could find some space for it, I guess. Like, it's really strong. Like, good God. Pay 9 life ward. Wow, alright. What does it do? Menace. Whenever 9 Fingers Keen deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 9 cards of your library. You may put a gate card from among them onto the battlefield. Then if you control 9 or more gates, put the rest into your hand. What? Oh, okay. Put the gates into your hand. Otherwise, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So it's a gate general. I'm sure somebody out there wants to play those gates. But I think you actually need to play all 5 colors. So this isn't the general. This is just in the deck. If I remember what the win condition is for the gate, I think you actually have to have 10 gates. So you need all 5 colors to do that, unless there's even more gates now, which there might be. Interesting in an extreme niche, which, I mean, Magic kind of has to go in this direction just because kind of all the effects have been done. I mean, they try and invent new effects, but they're mostly spin-offs of old effects, so even planeswalkers are kind of like multiple trigger enchantments. Do you think of it that way? Or yeah, I mean, it's a little different, but it's not that much different. I'm really glad they made enchantments better with sagas, because enchantments have been real crap for a long time. When OG the Exquisite Blade enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life and scry 2. Okay. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, exile up to 1 target creature you control, return to the battlefield under its owner's control. I mean, it's probably included in some deck. Raga Draga Gorguts boss. Okay. Each creature you control with a mana ability gets +2/+2. Okay, so your birds gets bigger. Whenever a creature you control with a mana ability attacks, untap it. Well, that's interesting. You probably were playing those colors anyway for that type of mana ramp. Whenever you cast a spell, if at least 7 mana was spent to cast it, untap target creature. It gets +7/+7 against trample until end turn. Oh my god. So it pumps all your mana dorks. They untap. They probably don't die because they're 3/3s early on, and that's big enough. Well, they're 4/4s early on, or something. They're probably like a 3/3. They're a 3/3. Let's call it 3/3. So whenever you cast a spell, if at least 7 mana was spent to cast it, untap target creature. It gets +7/+7 and gains trample until end of turn. So the spell you're casting, unless it has haste, doesn't matter. But your stuff that's already in play, that's already getting pumped for 2. So your 1/1 is a 3/3, and it's getting pumped for 7, and you're attacking for 10. And all you have to do is spend 7 mana on a spell, which is really, 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 really likely at some point in the game. Unfortunately, a lot of your spells are probably going to cost 6, and they're going to be like, why didn't it cost more? But, I mean, 7 is a lot of mana. It is. But if you could store this between turns as well, or not turns, phases, then you could mana ramp that way, which you could include Omnath in your deck, or some other mana battery type effect. I know there are other mana battery type effects. You could think of him doubling your mana each turn. You could think of it that way. Sort of. Sort of. But again, really high power level. Really high. Stupidly high. Raphael, Fiendish Savior, Flying, other demons, devils, and imps, and Thieflings. Okay, new creature type, Thiefling. You control gets +1/+1 and have lifelink. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature card was put into a graveyard from anywhere this turn, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with this creature, deals 1 damage to any target. Sure. I mean, yeah. If you're so inclined, that's not bad. It's not crushingly powerful like the card immediately next to it, but it's not bad. Death touch. You take the initiative. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature gains death touch on turn. If you complete a dungeon, also gets +5 in first strike and menace on turn. I mean, that's okay. Like, it's probably includable in a deck. It's not great. Playable, yes. But our list of playable cards is becoming really, really big, and yeah, they're playable, but really we're going to end up cutting this down quite a bit to like what's really good and what's not. Oh no, we have another Planeswalker commander. Let's see how stupid it is. Whenever you cast a spell you don't own, create a 3/3 black demon creature token. Okay. I could literally include this in my current deck. Let's see what the other abilities are. Draw a card. For each opponent, exile up to one target instant or sorcery card from that player's graveyard and put a page counter on it. So you draw a card and you exile. I mean, in multiplayer, that's bananas strong. In single player, it's okay. What is the -3? You may cast a spell from among cards in exile with page counters on them without, oh my god, without paying its mana cost. And you get a 3/3. Well, thank you very much. Powered up to the max. And it can be your commander. So you could play a mill-ish deck and recur your own creatures and your own spells, in addition to playing their spells for free while you draw a card. Yeah, that's overpowered. Whenever Thraxus the Butcher attacks, double the power of each dragon you control until end of turn. Probably good for dragon decks. Seems amazing for dragon decks. Haste. Let's see. Well, it literally only works in multiplayer, but it's definitely good. So I guess I'll toss it in. Faceless one. Nah. We made it to Artifact. We're really close to the end. There's lands after this, but we made it through. All right. Nope. Reprint Basilisk Collar. Disgusting overpowered Myriad ability. A Walrus that adds any color. Reprint. Okay, I guess you could play Campfire. If your commander's like stupid expensive, it would make sense to play Campfire. They reprinted Charcoal Diamond, the other diamonds. Generic 4/4. Oh, Flying in Haste. That's not bad. Leaves the battlefield. You draw 2 cards, and each opponent draws a card. I really don't want my opponents to draw a card. Yeah, I guess it's playable. If you have some kind of discard deck going on and you're killing it. So, yeah. That's a really weird way to think about discard. It's like group hug, but on demand instead of Hollowing Mind. So, oh, we got a new no maximum hand size and it adds any color, so that's pretty nifty. Flash kills itself for a mana or becomes a 5/5. Seems kind of bad. Commander counters, that's I guess useful for something. Let's see what else we got. So enters tapped. Take the initiative, so one dungeon in, you gain 3 life, draw a card, create treasure token. I mean, it does enough where if I cared about taking the initiative, I would definitely play that. It draws you a card and gives you mana and gains life. So, yeah, the only downside is it enters the battlefield tapped. So... Beginning of each player's upkeep, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may pay 2. If they do, they put a rope counter on a creature they control. Otherwise, exile, frang, line, and each creature with a rope counter on it, then remove all rope counters from all creatures. Oh, okay. Oh, each creature without a rope counter on it. Okay. Enters the battlefield. Put a rope counter on target creature you control. So one of your creatures is protected. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may pay 2. If they do, they put a rope counter on a creature they control. Otherwise, exile, frang, line, and each creature without a rope counter on it. Then remove all rope counter. Okay, so it essentially is an exile effect for all the board, except for 1 creature per player as it goes around the turn. Or if you're playing 1-on-1, 1 creature your opponent controls, and I gotta say that's really not helpful in 1-on-1. They're gonna pick their best possible creature, for sure. So multiplayer only. Excuse you, Geode Golem. Whenever Geode Golem deals combat damage to a player, you may cast your commander from the command zone without paying its mana cost. That's a disgustingly powerful uncommon, which is a reprint, but still disgustingly powerful. So, yeah, if your commander costs 6 or more, I would definitely consider playing Geode Golem. So, Iron Mastiff, you're gambling in a multiplayer scenario that you roll 3 dice and one of them is about 10 or above. That's what you're gambling on. In single player, it's really bad. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it on the battlefield tapped. If you don't put the card on the battlefield, you may put it on the bottom of your library. So it's 4 mana scry with a land draw effect. Outside of a green deck, I would say that's a decent ability. Oh, Manifold Key is another iteration of untapped target artifact, or well, in this case, another target artifact. But so yeah. Don't think I want to give my opponents free treasure tokens. Seems bad. So no to Marching Duodrone. When Marrut enters the battlefield, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, create a treasure token for each mana from a treasure spent to cast it. Okay, so there are decks that spam treasure tokens really hard. And theoretically, this is a free spell. So it is it's one of those snuck in uncommons that is, well, actually it's a common that is really good in a very specific deck. In a general deck, Marrut is, I mean, unplayable unless you have a bajillion treasure tokens. So, Meteor Golem, reprint. Oh, they reprinted Mind Stone. That's pretty cool. I like the picture. We got for Mighty Servant of Lioko. Okay. It has Ward. Not bad. Crew 4. When Mighty Servant of Lioko becomes crewed for the first time each turn, if it was crewed by exactly 2 creatures, it gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw 2 cards until end of turn. That's very doable. It only has a crew of 4, so if you have 2 2/2s, then you could easily do that. I suppose you have to make sure you crew in the right order though, because if you have a big creature that's like a 3/3 and a 1/1, actually no, that doesn't matter. So, but if it's like a 5/5, I guess if you only had like a 5/5 and a 1/1, and your 5/5 was terrible for some reason, hopefully that scenario doesn't come up for you. That seems like an oddball scenario. But this is spicy new. This is great. Costs 3, has Ward, so. Mirror of Life Trapping. Oh, Mirror of Life Trapping. This is a dirty thing. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if it was cast, exile it, then return all other permanent cards. Exile the Mirror of Life Trapping to the battlefield under their owner's control. So I don't want to screw around with this, but if you want to screw around with exiling everybody's creature and a bunch of enter the battlefield effects, you can do that. And I hope everybody at your play table owns you and starts hating on you immediately for playing Mirror of Life Trapping. So, okay, well, we got another vehicle, Nautiloid ship. Okay, exiles a graveyard. This combat damage to player, you may put a creature card, exile with Nautiloid ship on the battlefield under. Wow, really? Okay. That effect being colorless is a big deal. You can already do that effect in black for 6, but pretty big deal for colorless. Do I really want to search for 2 basic land cards and real those cards? If they didn't go onto the battlefield, it would be horrible. But this is actually a really big improvement for colorless Is it cheaper than Burnished Heart directly above it? Let's see, that costs 5. That costs 6. Okay. So it's 1 mana cheaper. It's not a creature, but it's 1 mana cheaper. So yeah, that's pretty sweet overall. I could see playing that in almost any deck, honestly. Like if you have any way to recur artifacts, it becomes even better, but it's still just good for color fixing. Like it's literally colorless color fixing. Oh, untap target legendary creature you control. That is a nice built-in ability. I like that a lot. So that is definitely goes in the good enough pile. Remove a coin counter from Noble's Purse, create a treasure token. Enters battlefield tapped. If it didn't enter battlefield tapped, it would be good. But since it does, it's terrible. Don't play it. Enters the battlefield or is put into your graveyard from the battlefield. Oh, is this another construct creator? That's interesting. Interesting. Huh. So there are 2 cards that do exactly this now, except one makes servos and the other makes constructs. That's really interesting. Lots of jank enablement there. So reprint. I like the picture though. Reprint. So for Pilgrim's Eye, it's a porcupine thopter. It could have had a excuse me. Oh boy. Okay. But it could have had the porcupine thopter. It could have been literally porcupine thopter. So I mean, I know it's a reprint, so they can't change the creature type, but whatever. So actually, they do that all the time. So I guess they could have if they really wanted to. Oh wow, it's another jank enabler. When prize statue enters the battlefield or is put into your graveyard, create a treasure token. That's okay, so that's getting even more interesting. So there are minimally 6 jank enablers. Yeah. Prism is a jank enabler as well because it draws a card, but that's neither here nor there. You don't really want to play draw 1. So whenever a player casts a spell, they lose 1 life for each spell they cast this turn. That's not a bad hate spell. I just don't know what deck I would play that in. I mean, I could easily see. So they cast a spell, they lose 1 life. They cast 2 spells, then the next spell they lose 2 life. So it adds up really fast. So it's definitely good. It's just I don't have a tax deck in mind right now. I really don't. So okay, so sacrifice Stone Speaker Crystal, exile any number of target players' graveyards and draw a card. You know, that's actually really good. I love the built-in ability. Reprint. Whenever a creature becomes blocked, deals 2 damage to each creature blocking it. Huh. Initiative. Reprint of Treasure Keeper. Reprint of Universal Solvent. Oh, we got Puzzle Box. What does Puzzle Box do? Whenever you roll one or more dice, put a number of charge counters on Vexing Puzzle Box equal to the result. Add 1 mana of any color, roll a d20, remove 100 charge counters from Vexing Puzzle Box. Search your library for an artifact card, put that card onto the battlefield. So dice roll artifact deck. I mean, it activates for itself, so you could probably get it in an, I don't know, 10-ish turns, maybe. You're not going to get it in 5 turns. It's not going to happen. I guess if you're really lucky, maybe, but... Wafer's Bauble reprint. Alright, we're close to the end. We made it to the land. Let's see what we got. Seems like we got a whole bunch of new gates. Okay, I don't care about gates. I really don't. So I'm probably going to glaze over them unless the ability is amazing. Ah, they reprinted a reflecting pool. That's nice. We're at basic lands, so I feel like we've reached the end. Yep, we've reached the end. Okay. So we have a stupid number of playable cards. And honestly, depending how niche your deck is, or niche your deck is, there's even more than 137 playable cards. Let's be real. I have been like dumbfounded on how overpowered this set is. Like, I know they keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, but there is a lot of disgustingly overpowered things in this set. Like, for real. Like, disgustingly overpowered. Alright, I think now I'm going to take a little quick break, and I will come back and we will do a cut down because I want to get the top 10. Alright, so let me put up a little message here. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to do a cut down here for power level out of our 137 cards. How many planeswalkers were in this set? Were there more than 3? Let me do a quick check. Actually, I don't think they're sorted by type at all. Yeah, they're not. So, I'll jump over to the wiki and just take a quick check. Because it's not on Gather yet, which is, if this was on Gather, a bunch of these cards would have came up in my most recent search, and I would have been nerding out over how awesome Jan Jansen is for even more jank enablers. Oh god, that freaking card. Commander's decks. Oh, you know what? No. This was my concern too. Like, are there different cards in these decks? Like, oh no! It does have 10 new cards not found. Oh no! Oh, that's gross. All right. I was afraid this would happen. Do they have them listed out yet for like what the new cards are? They do, thank goodness. So I guess we haven't finished the set review because they like to do crap like this where you gotta buy the deck to get the exclusive, don't you know? Oh, you gotta get the exclusive, don't you know? It's very, very, very exclusive. Well, I hate you. Don't do that. Let's see what we got. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast a cleric, rogue, warrior, and or wizard spells from the top of your library. Was this in the gallery? Let's do a name search. Was this in the gallery? No, it was not. Okay. Well, back to the wiki page. I don't want to deal with party. It's a lame ability. I don't want to deal with this. No. Let's go with no. This is the right one, right? This is not the old Commander Legend. Yeah, it's Baldur's Gate. Party. Really lame, but I guess somebody's playing it. Commander creatures you own have, whenever you cast a spell that shares a creature type with a spell, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Well, drawing one extra card per turn without a restriction, really. I mean, it's slightly restricted, but yeah, that's pretty great for white. Like, you're playing your mono white deck, you want to play that. Like mono white humans, cats, dogs, whatever it is. Probably humans, but unless it's knights, you could do knights. Beginning of your pre-combat main phase, choose one or more. Create a treasure token, lose 1 life. Draw a card, lose 2 life. Create a 3/2 colorless shapeshifter token and lose 3 life. So do you want to lose 3 life a turn to create a treasure token and draw a card. I feel like the answer is yes. Pushing the creature is a little over the top, though. Like, that's a little bit too much life to lose per turn. Mold Earth. Whenever one or more lands enter a battlefield under an opponent's control without being played, you may search your library for a plains card and put it on the battlefield tapped. If you then shuffle your library, do this only once each turn. Come on, man. Come on, man. That's really lame. It was almost good. I guess it's still technically okay. But realistically, screw this. Unless you're playing a group hug land search deck, which I guess that's a thing you could do once per turn to get 2 lands for yourself. Because you're searching for a land, they're searching for a land, then you get to search for a second land. But you can only do it once each turn. I guess unless you blink this, kill this. I guess blink it, maybe. But the deck would be mostly green-white. There are colorless effects, but mostly green-white. I have no idea what the commander would be. Ugh. Cleric, rogue, warrior, wizard. So party again. I mean, if you're playing those creature types anyway and you need card draw in white, you could play that. I don't see myself playing a hyper-specific creature type deck anytime soon. It bounces around in my head sometimes, but it never really like goes anywhere. Equipped creature has lifelink if you control a cleric. Oh god. How about no? Each creature card in your graveyard, oh no, has unearth. Whatever, I guess you could play that. Take the initiative. Rogue, wizard, whatever. Hate it. Hate it. Well, I guess that would kill pretty much every creature on the board if you're playing party. Except yours. I don't see there being a cleric on the board. I really don't. So maybe there's a rogue, maybe there's a warrior, maybe there's a wizard. Who knows? Chances are all their stuff dies. Your stuff doesn't. I really hate this effect, so I'm not including it in powerful cards. It's extreme specific deck. It's a little generic. You could get away with playing it in a wizard deck, I guess, or playing it in a warrior deck, but still mostly terrible along with the rest of these cards. Are we gonna see what it does? Float over. Okay, we got no float over for this. Let's see if we can find it. Whenever a horror you control deals combat damage to a player, that player mills that many cards. So himself. At the beginning of your end step, choose target artifact creature card in opponent's graveyard that was put there from their library this turn. Well, that's a stupidly strong effect. So you could literally play it by himself, then not as your commander or in a deck by himself, since he triggers by himself. And you could play mill. You don't have to play mill, but he mills 3 cards. You got a pretty good chance of hitting an artifact or creature in 3 cards. So very little downside there. Captain. There it is. Whenever a player mills 1 or more creature cards, you create a 1/1 black horror creature token. Oh, so this is the horror deck. Okay. Yeah, for the horror deck. Oh, it can be a commander, because, whatever. Oh god. Commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature becomes tapped, it and other creatures you control that share creature type with it get +2/+0 and undying until end of turn. That is stupid strong. Not that specific, so we're throwing it in here. Yeah. Oh, it's a hate card. Whenever a creature entering the battlefield under opponent's control causes a triggered ability of that creature to trigger, you may copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. So that's really, really, really strong, actually. It's especially in multiplayer, like, people will hate you. And it has flash, so yeah, pretty strong. Oh, we got no brain stealer. Oh, okay. So I was wondering, like, what the payoff is for costing frickin' 7. Because so at the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of each month's library. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. Spend mana as a mana color. Then they lose life when you cast it. There is the payoff there. So that's pretty decent. I kind of already have too many of those effects in my current deck. Don't really need more, especially things that cost 7. But it is playable. This is also very, very playable too, because it costs 5. I'm curious as to what else the deck above does, so we're going to look at it in a minute. Through your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of enchanted creature, except it's a 1/1. When enchanted creature dies, if the creature was a horror, return the endless eel to its owner's hand. Oh, that's pretty strong for copy abilities. I like that. Oh, didn't mean to do that. So, endless evil. Return target creature card from a graveyard to the battlefield with a corpse counter on it. If that creature would leave the battlefield to exile instead of putting it anywhere else, you take the initiative. Escape. Exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. That's a really expensive flashback. Maybe playable? That feels really expensive. The flashback effect, I guess, is the only thing that makes it playable. Still feels really expensive. Enters the battlefield and being your upkeep. Each horror you control gains all active abilities of target artifact and opponent controls on turn. I mean, Sol Ring? Sometimes it's okay. I mean, how would that work for equipment? You could equip it, and then it doesn't gain the other abilities. Yeah, it doesn't gain the other abilities as far as I can tell. Okay. So that's very strong in your horror deck. Okay. Not great otherwise, though. Eh. So I'll look through. Oh, Gill Feeder's in here. Nice. Oh, Hullbreaker Horror is way overpowered. It seems like they put a bunch of decent cards in there, though. Whenever one or more dragons you control attack an opponent, go target creature that player controls. Okay, don't care about that. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, if that creature had to attack this combat, put a +1/+1 counter on. Okay, and draw a card. So. Okay, so you're goading something. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents. So, other people. So, 4-player pod. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, if that creature had to attack this combat, put a +1/+1 counter. That seems overpowered if I'm reading it right. Because the second ability just cares about whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents. If that creature had to attack this combat, put a +1/+1 counter on your, assuming general, Fergrath, Cunning Investigator, and draw a card. So that is probably the most disgusting bannable general I've seen for multiplayer so far. Drawing a card for every single attack that doesn't go to you. Way too strong. Way too strong. Not really playable in single player, really. I guess it is. You get counters and draw cards for every creature attacking, so I guess it's even playable in single player. Seems way too strong, but at least it's not a planeswalker. Okay. Commander creatures you own have sacrifice an artifact. Put a +1/+1 counter on this creature and draw a card. Well, again, it's a mythic rare for a reason. Yes, you have to pay 2 mana. You do. But who cares? The first artifact spell you cast this turn costs 1, last 2 casts. Okay, so turn 2, play a free 1-drop if you couldn't play it before. And that's every turn. 2 mana. When this class becomes level 2, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal an artifact card. Put that card into your hand and the rest of the... Wow, that's stupid strong. What's the 6? At the beginning of your end step, create a token that's a copy of target art. Well, I mean, it's amazing. What else do you got to say there? Yeah, that's amazing. That goes into top of the pile for artifact relevant cards that are ridiculous. Cheaper spells, draw an artifact, copy artifacts, all on the same spell. And the levels stack on each other, so you get the cost reduction all the time. Crazy. Well, that's crazy. When Astral Dragon enters the battlefield, create 2 tokens that are copies of target non-creature permanent, except they're 3/3 dragons in addition to the other types and have flying. Cost 8 for a reason, people. That ability to copy 2 non-creatures is really strong. Really strong. Whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks one of your opponents, double its power until end turn. Don't care. Whenever Death Kiss becomes monstrous, go. Don't care. Create a treasure token, enter the battlefield. Whenever you attack a player who has the initiative, create a treasure token. So if they gain the initiative, get a treasure token. Whenever you complete a dungeon, create a 5/5. Nah. I guess if you're playing initiative, you'd probably play this. So, moving on. You may have Mocking Doppelganger and the battlefield as a copy of creature and opponent controls, except it has other creatures with the same name as its. No. Put a double strike counter on target creature, then goad each creature that had a double strike counter put on it this way. I guess I don't have a problem with that. I just think paying 7 for that ability is really expensive. I think you can pay 6 for that ability on an enchantment right now. Is there anything special up in here? Like, I don't know. They don't make these decks bad anymore. They're always full of decent stuff. So whenever you cast a spell from exile or a land enters the battlefield under your control from exile, create a wolf creature token. Discard a card. You may exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. So it works off a red exile draw. I really don't like red exile draw. And getting a wolf token doesn't feel like enough reward for that. When green can just blatantly draw you cards based on power of your creatures. Feels underwhelming, honestly. The spell has Undaunted. It costs 1 less for each opponent. Oh no. So it's multiplayer only. That sucks. He'd be really good otherwise. Top 4 cards, exile creature card, put the rest in the bottom of the library in random order. As long as that card remains exiled, you may cast it. Spell costs 1 less, has Undaunted, it costs 1 less for each opponent. So, multiplayer, I'm going to pull this out just because of how stupid powerful it is in multiplayer. Like, it's worth mentioning. Unrecognized card. Oh no. Oh no. Passionate archaeologist. It's an oh no. What do we got? Is it actually is on Scryfall but misspelled? Okay. Commander creatures you own have whenever you cast a spell from exile, this creature deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent. Welp. I guess you have a reason to play exile draw now. Huh. The power level on that is high enough where you definitely want to play exile draw. It literally doesn't work with this because you can't have it all the time, but it literally works with this all the time. And that's really strong. Um, like really, really, really strong in multiplayer. There's a lot of effects that are multiplayer only, but that's okay because that's kind of what Commander is about. Most of the time I personally play one-on-one, but there's like whenever you cast a spell from exile, this creature deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent. Even in one-on-one, that's pretty baller. Like, let's be real. Like, that's really good. You don't get like the multiplier bonus from this unless you're playing multiplayer, because you know -3 or -2 is way better than -1. But still. Delayed Fireball deals 2 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. If this spell was cast from exile, it deals 5 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. Okay, so you could do the Foretell, or you could exile draw. Probably not with this, but a different way, and deal 5 for 3. Not bad. I definitely see the direction of this. I kind of like it. Kind of don't, because I don't really like exile draw. But green slime. Oh, okay. Yeah. Like, what? When green slime enters the battlefield, counter target activated or triggered ability of an artifact or enchantment source. If a permanent's ability is countered this way, destroy that permanent. Now, it's a little silly that you just don't have destroy target artifact or enchantment here, but you gain the advantage of counterspell in green, which is a super rare effect. Well, it's not that rare of effect. You can do that already, but flash. So it's an instant. It's a creature. We really don't care that it's a creature. It doesn't matter. It costs 3. I guess you could foretell for 1 later on. Be really sneaky, whatever. I guess it would actually be better, like, foretelling it, because you don't know when that's going to come up, and you don't want to hold up 3 mana all the time. So that's a very strong green card. I like it a lot. It sucks that it doesn't say Planeswalker, but I guess you could only hope for so much at 3 mana. So beginning of your upkeep, exile the top 4 cards of your library. Roll a d20. You may put a land card from among those cards onto the battlefield, 1 through 9. 10 through 19. Create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, then put a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature among those cards. Okay. Put all permanent cards exiled with Journey to Lost City on no. No. Full stop. No. You're exiling 4 cards. Okay. You get a land. Who cares? You get a 2/2 wolf creature token and the counters for it. Who cares? You only have payoff if you hit a 20. Terrible. Don't do it. That's a weird looking guy. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. If a permanent spell... Oh, exile draw. Okay. If a permanent spell... If it's a permanent spell, then copy gains haste at the beginning and steps. Okay. Got it. Better than I thought. Exile draw enabler. Okay, pretty good actually. Exile draw enabler. Not like top end, but in general good. Initiative. Add card list. If it has initiative, add 2. Okay. Exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Activate only if you've completed a dungeon. Oh, that's a burn. Well, I don't have a dungeon deck in mind, so I guess not. Oh, we got some bunch of stuff going on in this. That was a pretty weird, good picture. Like 1980s action movie, like fantasy picture going on. 7, so expensive. But 2, exile target creature card from your graveyard until end of your next turn. You make... Oh, that's pretty baller. You may cast that card. And what's the flip side? Flip side is trample. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a creature. Oh my god, for a creature spell you cast from exile. Wow. That is some extreme power level there. Yes, it requires you to do exile draw. But holy crap. You might consider playing it just for the first ability. If you were playing something that does not have easy graveyard return, which probably would be green. Yeah. Or red. Exile cards from top of your library until you exile a land card. Put that card on the battlefield and the rest of them bottom of your library in random order. Exile venture forth with 3 time counters on it. So suspend for 2, you get a land, and it repeats 3 turns later. This is okay. You would have to play something else to make it better. I know there was a commander that did literally that in the set for reducing time counters. I suppose if that's your goal, go for it. And that was that. So now we actually have all the cards for Battle for Baldur's Gate, or at least I hope we do. Like, I hope they're not including even more extraneous random cards. But I guess we'll try a search real quick and find out. quite see it at the top yet, so it's gotta be here, but... let's go back to this page. There must be a link to it. Battle for Baldur's Gate. I really, really hope there aren't even more like extraneous cards. That would be really frustrating. Like, here's a... oh, let's check it out, man. Promos. Okay, that's... I know that's in. I know that's in. Do we have anything else? Reprints, notable cards, pre-constructed decks. Usually it's up at the top. So, draft, storyline, marketing events, promotional cards, tokens, the list, themes, card types, card cycles, pairs, reprints, notable cards. They usually have something for things that are not in the set. Commander's versions, reprints, bundle promo. Oh, the other promo's down there. Never mind. Okay, so I don't think there's anything extra. I feel like we managed to catch everything. Yeah, that's the bundle promo. Okay. So we got everything. We got the whole set. Cool. Awesome. So I was surprised that there was even more, but there was even more. I hope there's not even like more like promos out there creeping around. It's difficult enough to find new Magic cards with how they do stuff that I have to use a fandom wiki instead of just searching the set. Like, I'd really just like to be able to search the set and get all the cards for Battle for Baldur's Gate instead of jumping through these hoops to find out. Anyway, I feel like I've been going for a while now. I kind of want to go a bit early, so we're going to end this early, cut it, and a little short, and next stream, we're going to actually cut this down to a top 10. And yeah, we'll kind of move on from there, and I think I will get back to this artifact deck because I keep finding things that are more and more ridiculous, and I keep being inclined to go back to blue because blue seems to be the most relevant artifact color. So that keeps my Master of Ethereum, and I might as well just keep the cranial plating. And Tezzeret is black, and yeah, lots of stuff going on here. But if you're looking for some new powered up spells for your commander decks, buy this set. Buy cards from this set. Like, these 3 planeswalkers alone are stupidly overpowered. If we like scroll down a little bit, like pretty much everything in this list is playable. Then you run into high-powered things like Eldritch Pact. Pretty high-powered. Let's see. Then you run into, oh my god, Majestic Genesis. This is so overpowered, it's disgusting. Like, I'm a green player for sure, and holy crap. Summon, let's see. So we got good stuff. We got overpowered things. What else is overpowered? Let's see. Let me just see what hits me. Storm King's Thunder. Very powered up. Oh, I keep talking about this card. Guardian Naga. I'm gonna repeatedly talk about this card, and if I don't get up to 10 for rares, this is gonna be in the top 10 because it exiles an artifact or enchantment which you are literally always playing all the time, and as a bonus it has vigilance. It's a 5/6. As long as it's your turn, prevent all damage that will be dealt to Guardian Naga. You attack every turn with vigilance, and it's not gonna die. And it's a common. It's amazing. So yeah. What else we got for heavy hitters? What else is just gonna jump at me? There are definitely some of these that are really heavy hitters. I know a lot of these are good, but I'm just like breezing through quick to give you like a quick idea of like how powered up it is. It's kind of crazy. All these backgrounds are way powered up, like beyond belief, because they're always available. Even if they're a common level or uncommon level, they're always available. If your commander has the background effect, which you could pick one that does. Okay, really obvious. All the ancient dragons are powered up. You don't need to be told that. Every single one. They'll probably be in the top 10. They won't be. I don't know if they'll be at the top, but what else is a standout? I don't think I've even made it to 10. I almost feel like there needs to be separate top 10 lists for multiplayer and non-multiplayer, because some things are way overpowered in multiplayer and some things are just mediocre in single player because they're not made for single player. We don't need to talk about Jan Jansen anymore. He's a jank enabler. Oh, yeah. Not overpowered, but very good for Dai's treasure token. Again, not overpowered Nira, but very good for what it does. I thought was there an overpowered artifact here? Yeah, Horn of Valhalla was pretty powered up. It's not overpowered, but it's pretty powered up. Monster Manual was good. It wasn't overpowered, but again, powered up. So of the Arch Magi was very powered up as well. I really don't care about the Shaman Warlock Wizard garbage that's going on. I like it for the first ability. And that's a green ability. I strongly dislike that blue gets everything. Yeah, even Wand of Wonder was very powered up. So I think I might easily make it to 10 powered up spells. I don't think I'll have to try that hard to read through this a second time. But anyway, that is the end of my set review for Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. We went through the whole set. It was a lot of fun. I liked the set. It's stupidly powered up. And next time around, we're going to do a cut down for the top 10. In case you just want to know what like the 10 best cards are, which some people do. So, and we'll kind of go from there. But otherwise, this has been another broadcast of Channel 35, HAND, the hand. And I'm here to give you a hand. What can I say? Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.